I am so excited to welcome Prerna to the show. But before we get into all the juicy details, Prerna, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and kind of what you do?
My name is Prerna Malik. I am the co-founder of Content Bistro, which is a copywriting and consulting agency that my husband and I run together. So anything that helps them bring sales, we do it all. Generating, lifetime value from your customers because that's the goal, right? We're not in business for the short term. And that's what I'm really excited to chat with you about today.
Yes. And I was actually really excited when I got your information because you're not in the wedding industry. And listen, we've got some amazing, professionals in the wedding industry. But what I found through this podcast is actually that I have a lot of fun speaking to professionals that are not in our industry because there's so much that we can learn from the way that other industries are selling or creating lifetime value. And that was what intrigued me so much about your information when I got it. I was like, oh, this is something I don't think we do well at all in the wedding industry. I think there's a few people that do. I think there are. But I think overall it's a huge miss in our industry, which is creating lifetime value. Prerna, can you tell us a little bit about what this whole post-email funnel is that we're going to talk about today?
The post-wedding campaign, Brandee, essentially is exactly what it says. It's an email campaign that you would send out after the wedding is over. And the goal there is to increase the lifetime value to the customer and from the customer. Your clients come to you because they get value from you. It's a very healthy transaction, right?
The reason I was saying I think this topic intrigued me so much is because just the idea of your service doesn't stop when the wedding happens. Creating that lifetime value makes it such a much easier sell because they already love and trust you, right? And that's really the game plan with this post-wedding campaign.
Absolutely. So here's the thing. We are big on relationships at Content Bistro. That's like the core of our business, and that's pretty much why we've been in business for so long. And you know this, you've been in business since 2007. So yeah, relationships are the cornerstone of any long-lasting business or even life, right? So post-wedding campaigns do just that.
It's so interesting too because I have one client that I did her first daughter's wedding when I was a baby wedding planner. And now I've done all three of her daughter's weddings. Plus, I think every friend she's ever known, I've done all of their kids' weddings. And what's interesting about having that kind of a relationship is that it's just such a much easier yes. I mean, they already know you and love you, right? So you're not fighting for the sale.
100%.
Yes.
It's a much easier yes, and also it's a much easier process working with them because they already know how what you need, and you know how they think, and you know what to kind of watch out for, and so you can plan better. It's such a win-win for everybody involved.
But what should go in the post-email campaign? When should it go out? All the things.
Let's look at the 5 post-wedding campaigns that you can possibly be sending out. Okay, so first up is, of course, the obvious one, which is the review and referral campaign, which goes out after the wedding. Hopefully had a great time working with your clients, and now you would love to get reviews and testimonials from them. In that case, you just send out an email saying it was great to work with you and capture your wedding day and the photograph. I'm editing them and I will be sending them to you by such and such date. In the meanwhile, it would be really helpful for me if you would share your experience working with me. So that's like a personal email. Ideally, you would want to send them at least 2 to 3 emails spaced out. So the first email could go out, say a couple of days after. The second email could go out maybe a couple of weeks or even like 4 weeks later. And the third email, let's say they still haven't reviewed, could go out another 4 weeks later. So that's like your first campaign. The second campaign would be an upsell campaign. Upsell them into additional services. It's amazing, like when you start to think about it, like what can you upsell them into? The third that I have was a cross-sell campaign.
Okay.
Cross-sell campaign is where it's not directly related to, say, a wedding, but it's more complementary. For instance, if you're a florist, you could offer a weekly flower subscription service. If you did the flowers for their wedding, you already know their preferences. So can you sign them up to a subscription service where they would get their choice of flowers every week, and every time they look at it, it just makes them smile. So these are not really directly wedding related, but these are complementary services that you are fully qualified to offer. And chances are your clients would need that, but they haven't really thought that, you would be the person for it.
I like that a lot too. I think one of the things that planners miss in this cross-sell campaign that we're calling it is the ability to sell a corporate event to your client after, because they might own their own business or they work for a business and, they need their holiday party planned or whatever. So being able to let them know you do those kind of things.
Exactly. Then you've got two other campaigns that you could consider. One is, and I'm sure a lot of us are coming up close to, is a flash sale or a seasonal sale campaign. So now you can touch base with all those past clients and say, hey, we're offering a seasonal sale on XYZ package. You can also use the same campaign to launch a new service if you want to, because when you generally launch a new service, you tend to give a special price. So that's like your fourth campaign. The fifth one would be the anniversary campaign. Now, like you're in the wedding industry, and like Brandee said, hopefully people get married once, which means they would have a lot of anniversaries. Could you set up an automated anniversary campaign that goes out so you can set it up to go out on their anniversary?
So smart.
Yeah, giving them a special on either one of your upsells or your cross sells. So can you see how everything just kind of works beautifully together?
So I think the obviously, for me at least, as a planner, photographers come to mind immediately, right? Listen, if you're not doing all 5 of these as a photographer, I don't know what you're doing with your life. But what I love about this too is that it's a lot about just staying top of mind. I also think, I'm just trying to, as you were talking, I was trying to think through the different service providers, like a stationer to be able to sell Christmas cards, their first Christmas cards that go out.
Personalized stationery,
Oh, hello. Yes.
How amazing and how literally luxurious is that? That you're like, okay, you can send your thank you card on personalized stationery. Yeah. I mean,
there's so much that can be done, and we just don't think about all the smaller ancillary products because it feels overwhelming. The idea that you have to get an email service provider, then you have to build out this whole thing. But it's actually quite simple. And we talk a lot on this show about the importance of having an email list, having an email service provider. Flowdesk is the one that I typically recommend for wedding pros just because it's simple and clean. Is there anything that you see, Prerna, that you're like, oh yeah, that's a mistake? Don't do that.
Because these mistakes are not just for post-wedding email campaigns. These are mistakes that could happen in any email campaign. Know that it's okay. One of the first mistakes that I see is sending out very generic templated emails that don't give any context. Just don't send out generic emails that could come up from anyone. So that's number one, so that you can stand out and you, again, stay top of mind. The other mistake that I see is there's no segmentation, no personalization. And same for photographers. If you're doing, say, birthday photo shoots and, family photo shoots and wedding photo shoots. Corporate, exactly. You want to keep those segments separate. And then we've got the social proof. Try and include some form of social proof. I take this opportunity to remind you that if you haven't shared your feedback, please do, because it just makes my day. Timing is sending these emails like we talked about. So don't wait too long and don't just rush into it. So just kind of keep timing in mind. And then the other mistake that I see a lot of people make is, I can actually call it the 3 C's, which is basically clarity. So you want your emails to be really clear and be conversational, tell stories if you want to, literally treat it as a conversation. And then, of course, I had to bring in conversion focused. You want to remember these are all sales campaigns. And going back to the clarity point, you want your emails to read well, make sure formatted well, easy to read, all of that good stuff as well.
Yes, I love it because it's just such an important reminder that you're putting all this work into these emails. You don't want to make some of these big mistakes, right? So Prerna, this has been so fun, and I'm really excited to hear how our listeners are going to implement one or a few of these, post-wedding campaigns in their own business, and how it will help to drive sales, have returning clients, to have, more lifetime value from their clients. Oh my gosh, so good. Thank you so much, Prerna, for being here. This was awesome. You guys, I'll see you next time.